Finance, the podcast that mixes mocktails with high finance. I'm your host, Owen Bernal, and I'm joined by my good friend and little sister, Bertie Bernal.
Owen, can a podcast about finance be entertaining?
Not without kids.
Well, all right, let's mix it up.
Woo! All right, that was awesome. Good job, guys.
Thanks, guys.
Wow, I think they did better than your kids.
Oh.
It's like that. Wait,
Let's
they haven't
see.
answered any questions yet. I'm nervous.
Yeah, let's see. Let's see how good you did with your kids when I asked them questions about money.
Oh gosh, there's 7 kids in my house.
Well, that's your fault.
Thanks for pointing that out.
Are you guys excited to be on the podcast today?
Yeah.
We're excited to have you on the podcast.
Yeah, so we have Owen, Bertie, and Max. Max, you got to say hi since you didn't say anything. Say hi.
Hi.
He's the mostly silent one
Yes.
who's controlling the room right now. All right, guys. So this is episode 2, really episode 1 of the details as far as how to teach your kids about money. The last kids episode, we talked about why it's important to teach your kids about money. First of all, has your dad taught you anything about money?
No.
No.
Wow.
Do you guys even know what your dad does for a living?
Yep.
Okay, what does he do?
Finance.
And what does that mean?
Dealing with other people's money. Helping them with their taxes. And owning other, dealing with the market.
Nice. That's a pretty good answer. It's more than my kids could say.
My daddy drinks for a living.
I think Titus said I talk a lot for my job.
That's right,
yeah. All right.
He's
So
not wrong.
he's not wrong. Let's jump in with some questions before we get into the meat and potatoes and the drink. I guess.
They're ready to drink, man.
Yeah. Okay. So first, let's do some questions. Owen, I'm going to ask you first. What are some ways that you can earn money?
By working.
Okay. Do you have some
By-
examples?
Firewood,
Firewood's a good one.
commission chores
Explain that a little bit.
is where so when there's cleaning that you have to do around the house, you ask your mom if you have any commission chores. So then she writes them down and you do them. So one of them's mopping the first floor, cleaning the windows, dusting.
So basically stuff that she's willing to subcontract out to you.
Yeah.
All right.
Then you earn commission?
Okay. Bertie, I have a question for you. Why do we need to make money?
So we can buy the things that we need to afford.
Okay. Like what things?
Food, things like meat,
Meat. Yes.
drinks,
Uh-huh.
Drinks. Ooh, yes.
Bourbon for daddy?
presents.
Presents.
Okay,
Ooh.
good.
I think your kid said presents too. That's pretty good.
You know, the third question, I was going to say, do you know how your parents make money? Owen already answered that one, actually. So let's see. Owen, this will be a good one for you. This is one Titus had a lot of fun with. How much money do you want to make one day?
Trillions.
Trillions. Ooh. Titus said he wanted to be rich. Okay. Why do you want to make trillions of dollars one day?
So I have a good house, enough food, and good presents.
Okay.
You think it takes trillions of dollars to do that? That seems kind of excessive.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So piggybacking on that, so you can afford all those things that you already have. Bertie, is your dad rich?
No.
Oh, sorry. I was trying to get her to spill the beans.
Oh, dang it.
Does daddy have trillions of dollars?
I don't know.
That's the good answer. None your business.
All right. Well, who wants to drink some mocktails? I know I do. Today we're drinking something called a Nojito. Everybody relax out there, okay?
Ooh.
We're not making mojitos for these children.
We do not promote underage consumption.
No, we don't. This is a mocktail, as Owen referenced earlier.
Yes.
This one's a Nojito. So as you guessed, it's a mojito without the alcohol. So what we're drinking before we dive in, boys and girls, the Nojito consists of 10 to 12 mint leaves, 4 sugar cubes, 1.5 ounces of fresh squeezed lime juice, and club soda. And then you
Yes.
can garnish it with a mint sprig like we did here and a lime wedge. Basically, you put all of these ingredients into a shaker, muddle up the mint and the sugar, shake it up with some ice, strain it into a glass, add a bunch more ice, and then you top it with club soda. Club soda is what makes it taste like 7-Up. That's the carbonated. So
Yes.
I've not tried this. These guys haven't tried it. Let's cheers.
Let's cheers.
Take a sip.
Here you go.
Boys and girls.
Cheers. Cheers.
All right. Owen, what do you think of that?
It's good.
Yeah? Birdie, you like that?
It's too sweet.
Too sweet. You're a kid. Max, what do you think
What
of
do you
that?
think, Max?
It's disgusting.
I'm sorry. Max is upset that we're not using gin here.
It's disgusting, he said.
Or rum, right? Yeah, rum for a mojito.
Well, you can use gin. You can do whatever
Did your
you
dad
want.
let you drink rum at home?
No.
Okay. All right. Hey, you know what? This is not bad.
It's a summer drink.
It's a summer drink.
You know
yeah.
what? It's kind of interesting because you're using the fresh mint.
Mhm.
It's got like a vegetation kind of smell.
A vegetal smell?
Yeah, a vegetable smell. And I think that might be maybe part of
Is it throwing you off?
it's throwing me off a little bit.
Pull your mint
Okay,
sprig
I'm-
out and try it. Because you're not a big mint fan, right? Or
I like mint, but
okay.
no, it's good. It's mojito.
Yeah.
Without the good stuff.
Too sweet, huh? All right. Well,
Oh, well, that's like said by no kid ever.
Said- yeah, well, you're weird. No, just kidding.
Yeah, obviously, they're my kids.
All right. Well, let's get into we'll just dive into the finance topic here. Teaching your kids about money. We're going to talk today a little bit more about some of the actual things that we can do to teach kids about money, and we'll decide at the end of this episode how well Jason's done at teaching his kids about money, because you're under the microscope for
I
this
know.
one.
Gosh,
All right,
they're here to embarrass me. That's
I should start with asking the kids here, because you said that your parents have taught you about money, right? I think Owen did, at least. What kind of things have they taught you about money? How have they taught you about money? What do they use to teach you about money?
To save. So when I go to like buy a 4-wheeler, I have enough money to.
Okay. Well, wait a second. Let's get into that a little bit more, Owen. They've taught you about saving. How have they taught you to save? Specifically, what have they taught you that's helped you to save?
Not bring money to places,
Okay.
and not when you really want something, wait till your birthday or
Okay.
Christmas and ask for it then.
So not to be impulsive. That's good. Definitely. What about you, Birdie? How has mom and dad taught you about money?
To save it and save some and spend some, but make sure not to spend too much.
Mm-hmm. Are there any fun games or anything that they've taught you or played with you to teach you about money?
Me and Max have played restaurant.
Okay. That's a good one. What about Monopoly? Do you guys play
Yeah,
Monopoly? Yeah, that's a
Monopoly.
fun one. You learn a lot about money. And not
life.
just saving money, but how to make money, right?
And
you-
life.
And life. Oh, the game of life? Yeah. Well, let's get back to Monopoly, because when you're a trillionaire, I expect you to wear a monocle, okay? And a top hat
top
everywhere
hat,
you go.
every day.
Every day. Because that's what trillionaires do. All right, so Monopoly, restaurant. That's a really good one, Birdie, that I didn't think much of, and my kids played this a lot growing up.
Mhm.
My daughter walking around in I call it her Flo costume, and actually I think it says Flo on her little apron.
Gosh, that's funny.
But yeah, walking around taking everybody's orders and then taking money. What's funny is she would do this at like family gatherings. And so my family are just reaching into their wallet, like
Giving her
okay,
real money.
Here's $1 for some plastic cheesecake, right? But no, it
That's
does.
awesome.
It does teach kids about money. Teaches them that things actually cost things. Seeing my dad's face whenever he reaches into his wallet, right, in the pain.
Hey, you have the same reaction, man.
Of course. So yeah, using games, visuals, especially for kids these age. I didn't even talk about ages. Owen, you're 10, right? Yeah. And Birdie, how old are you now?
7.
7. All right, so pretty close to my kids' ages. Max, how old are you, my friend?
4.
4. All right. Okay, so Max, you have the microphone. Has mom and dad taught you about money? And have they
Yes.
played games with you? You
Yes.
play restaurant and Monopoly and stuff like that?
I don't play Monopoly because I'm too little.
Do you earn money at home?
No.
Oh, okay. All
Not
right.
quite
well,
yet.
Soon.
How do you get stuff that you want, Max?
I don't know.
You make it to your next birthday, right?
I thought he was going to say I asked grandma or something, you know.
So I think when it comes to teaching kids about money, Jason, what I've found is a lot like me. I'm a lot like a kid. I learn visually, and kids learn visually. You know,
mean that visceral reaction?
Yeah,
it's a visual and a physical thing.
In the games, you're seeing the exchange of money. You're seeing the fake numbers printed on the the fake money and stuff like that. Some other strategies or some other ways to teach kids about money that I really like is, I don't know if you've heard of the clear jar method.
Yeah, so they can see it, right?
Yeah. It's just like it sounds, a clear jar, right?
Yeah, there's a similar piggy bank that's out there too that I really like that has the spend, save, give.
Oh, okay.
Compartments
all in one.
Yeah, and it's it's for change. I mean, you just throw change in there, but I'm finding these clear jar and like change methods are harder because we don't use cash like we used to.
That's true.
Yeah, so like that.
Do you think that's on purpose? This is not the conspiracy episode. Do you guys think that's on purpose? I want to know what Max thinks about this.
Yeah. Do they not want us to use money, or they want us to use credit cards?
No.
Max is like, we just go to Amazon and everything shows up.
Right.
That's what happens.
Shows up 2 days later. Yeah, I like the clear jar, not just because, I mean, you can see the money building up, and also when you take money out, you see it going down, right? That's why I think people spend less money. Adults spend less money in general, I think, whenever they're walking around with money in their pocket, right? You spend less when you've got to empty your pocket, but you get the plastic out and it's abstract. It's not real.
Yeah, I mean, that whole budgeting mentality of like having almost like separate accounts for those items where it's in an envelope or something like that. I mean, those methods have been around for a long time for a reason. So, I mean, they work well, and they do create a barrier for that impulse spending.
Yeah, so, I think using physical money is really helpful for kids, too.
Yeah, that's why these games are good.
Absolutely. But it does make me wonder if there's going to be a generation of kids growing up that never uses real money, and I think that's a detriment. I don't think that kids are going to understand money as well without handling it, without seeing it, the visual aspect of it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think physical cash for purchases. Owen, let me ask you, whenever you decide that you want to go buy something and you take your cash to the store, it hurts a little bit when you have to hand that cash over, doesn't it? It makes you think, do I really want this thing bad enough that I'm willing to give up my cash?
Yeah, because if I really need it, like most of our headphones are broke. So I want to
just like our house.
So I want to go buy nice ones with radios, and I'm trying to save enough money up. So, and then when I hand over that money, it's gonna be kind of hard.
Yeah.
So maybe you shouldn't have bought like those 9 Lego sets you just bought like not that long ago.
I need them.
Legos don't lose their value, Jason. That's an investment.
Oh, okay.
Do I have to teach you about investments again?
Maybe that one. I didn't see the prospectus for that one.
So my own children too. Titus, he loves money, and he got $100 bill from his great grandma for his birthday, and I can't even remember how many years ago that was. The kid will not let go of it. I have caught him. When you put your kids to bed and like 2 hours later you fall asleep on the couch and you hear movement upstairs.
Yeah.
I go upstairs and Titus is sitting in bed looking at his $100 bill with his flashlight.
That's awesome.
I'm like, we might have a problem here, son. But he knows that, birthdays come around once a year. And when I want to earn extra money, I got to work hard. It's hard for him to part with that, right? So one example I'll use of handing over the physical money, maybe I said this on the last podcast. There was a Hot Wheels set that he absolutely wanted, and it was $100. And he had his $100 bill, but he also had $50-some in like 20s and 10s and stuff like that. So he goes to the store, he sees the Hot Wheels set, and right next to it, he sees the off-brand. And he's looking at the two of them, and he's pacing back and forth. And what he decided was, you know what? This one doesn't say Hot Wheels on it, but it does all the same things, and it's $48. And I don't have to get rid of my $100 bill, right?
Nice.
So I think physical cash to make purchases is really important. It also, I think, helps kids to tie work or what you have to do to get money to the money when you spend it.
Yeah. So when we go make a big purchase, where do we usually go look? Like if you're going to buy a 4-wheeler, where are we going to look first?
The Honda dealer.
What? We never do that.
Birdie, where do you look for a 4-wheeler?
I don't look for a 4-wheeler. We usually go to like Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something where we're going to try to find something used,
Yeah.
a couple years old, save a little bit. So that's good for them, because then almost always in those cases you're using cash. So
Yeah.
I do have a question though. Bernadette, do you learn about coins like quarters and nickels and dimes and pennies?
Yeah.
And what about dollar bills?
Yeah.
So you can count change?
Yes.
Okay. Not like make change, but I mean, I've noticed some kids don't even know what the coins are, and so that's like really concerning.
I looked at some of the, what's the word I'm looking, the curriculum for state of Ohio, and when they introduce like money, I don't know, it was a long time ago when I was in elementary school, but I feel like it was like first grade probably that we learned about denominations and the different change coins and things like that.
Yeah, and I mean
all that
they definitely did that in first grade.
But I think it's like fourth grade now. Is what I saw in the and that not every school is that way, but I think that's the Ohio curriculum, which they're working on and are working towards.
There's another conspiracy theory right there waiting to happen. But we teach them about credit cards in first.
So you mentioned something about the jar that does split up the different areas for spending and things like that, the saving, spending, charity, which we'll get into towards the end. I had just, mason jars are great for this, right?
Absolutely.
And writing on them what each one is.
Mm-hmm.
And again, Bernadette, I think you said earlier that when you get money, you're encouraged to save some, spend some, and, give some. So that makes that all, that is visual budgeting, right?
Sure is.
So you guys are learning about budgeting through the use of coins and jars and things like that. Cool. The next thing I have in here is involving your kids in everyday purchases.
Yeah.
Do you guys ever go to the grocery store with your mom?
Barely.
Barely. Does your dad go to the grocery store at all?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
So do you ever go with dad for like everyday purchases, things that you need at Walmart or Menards or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. How important is that for you guys to see mom and dad spending money for things that you need?
Important.
How about things that you break that I have to replace? You get involved in that ever? You never break anything, right?
Nope.
You just broke something yesterday.
What did you break?
We have to water our garden, and so there's a spigot. You have to screw the hose on, so the spigot turns on, and the tractor PTO shaft was too low, so it hit the hose and ripped it out.
Oh man, I bet that was fun.
2 problems: driving my tractor.
Yeah, what are you doing around a PTO,
10 years old. Second problem: breaking the hose for the garden.
However, I will point this out. Maybe that's a supervision problem. The boss is not giving the child.
The boss was at work
to complete his job.
Another problem. Thank you for pointing that out.
Okay, so I think involving kids in everyday purchases is really important, though. And I'll use Titus again as my example. But whenever he goes and we buy something that we need and he sees me paying, he'll ask, how much was that?
Right.
And my initial response is, hey, none of your business. But then I got to, no, you have to realize that he gets to spend his money on what he wants to spend money.
Right.
And as adults, we have to spend money mostly on things that we need, not that we want.
I can remember having conversations with our older kids, the older 3, about like electricity, for example. Like they had no idea.
Close the door. I'm not paying to cool the outside.
Yeah,
that's when you've become a real dad.
Are you spending $200 to $300 a month on electricity? Yeah, we are. Or another one. We live in the country, so we have treat our own water, for example. Running the hose just because it's fun costs a lot of money in chemicals, and it does in town too. When you have city water, I mean, it's not cheap. So these are everyday purchases that, you don't even realize the cost until you talk to your kids about it. Talk about, everybody is talking about gas right now.
Yeah.
Have them peek out the window, get off their doggone device and look at how much gas.
Yeah, just watch that number rolling up.
Right. Yeah. It can't even hardly climb as fast as the gallons going into the car. So
it looks like those numbers, the gallons and price, that are rolling up whenever you're pumping. It looks like they're reversed these days.
Yeah. And even just, the basic stuff like, that's important for them to see. But I also think involving them in purchases that are fun too.
Yeah.
Vacations or, you're buying something new for the family, maybe, a new computer or TV or device or something like that, something for the outside. so they can see, you know, that we can't spend all of our money on fun stuff, but occasionally there's a reward for the work that you do.
Yeah, and like you said, even, you know, there are lessons there even when you're doing fun things. We talked about vacation a few episodes ago, right?
Sure.
And how to budget for a vacation and stick to that budget. And one of the biggest things was actually take a vacation. That's very important.
Yeah, take a vacation, man.
So same thing. We try to teach our kids to have fun with money, but not too much. And again, the budgeting of the jars, that's helpful. Having kids go to the store with you. Does your mom ever have you cut out coupons or anything like that, guys? Do people still use coupons?
My mom does.
Of course she does. So you can see the 25 cents off while you go, 25 cents? I got like 5 quarters in my jar at home. That's nothing, right? You can see whenever the lady at the grocery store tells mom how much the bill is, right?
Or your total savings is X. You know, you see that sometimes. It's like, what?
Oh, that's money that's back in my jar.
That's right. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. So the next one we talked about a little bit with allowance and working for a wage, commission chores. You said that. I think that was really good. But let's talk about, Jason, I think it's important, especially when we're dealing with little kids. Remember, we said in the first episode that kids are really, you know, their habits around money are formed between the ages of 7 and 9. They're almost going to be who they are with money at that age.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about the importance of saving, spending, and charity, which Bernadette talked about a little bit before. Why is that so important, in your opinion, to get that started from the beginning, learning about saving some, spending some, and being charitable with some?
Yeah, I mean, I think the saving component is just something that has to be automatic. When you have a, you know, amount of money come in, you have to pay yourself first. Mm-hmm. And if you don't develop that habit quick, you will, it's just so easy to spend.
Yep.
You know, that's why we recommend.
Which some people think is paying themselves first, but that's not.
It's not. No, I mean, you know, you're going to have most of us as adults have a future debt that's coming, which is a retirement at some sort when we're not going to work anymore. We want to do something different. The reality is you got to put that money aside first. And so I think teaching that to your kids early on is super smart. And, you know, our society is such a, you know, consumer driven society that it's super easy to find places to spend money. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, tropical smoothie or Big B coffee just ate, you know, $50 of my paycheck from.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had this conversation with some teenagers. I was on a hiking trip and they're not my kids. So it was kind of fun to try to teach them something. Just explaining like the percentage. He's like, I love McChickens. I love them so much. I eat like 4 of them for lunch when I'm at work. And I'm like, dude, that's like $4. Do you get a pop? Yeah, it's 5. I'm like, holy crap. Like you're spending $7. Yeah. And that's like, it was like 50% of 1 hour of his work.
Do you remember being a dollar menu-naire?
Oh, right? Yeah.
That was a commercial,
yeah.
actually.
Yeah, like what the heck?
There is no dollar menu anymore, by the way.
No. Oh, no.
So when you talk about habits, if your habit is 4 McChickens and a Coke, right, that's maybe $5. But whenever prices go up and your habits don't change,
that's right.
You can't buy a value meal for, you know, less than $8 or $9 at McDonald's now. So
yeah. So I mean, when we go places, do we let you guys just, you know, do we go out to eat a lot, or what do we do when we travel?
We usually pack our own food.
Yeah, so like pack a lunch. Like that was actually my argument with these guys.
Yeah.
Like, so you can save a little bit more or spend it on something you really want.
Sure. Yeah.
So
and that's part of the budgeting, right? You know, your spend jar, whether you spend it on a cheeseburger or a Lego set, you know, it's all coming out of the same jar. Why do you think that the spending jar is so important for kids, Jason? I'll just say, I guess I'll tell you why I think it's important. My son is obsessed with money. I don't know how that happened, but I think there is a lot. There's a lot of parents out there who, you know, they're dead set on teaching their kids about being responsible with money, and they don't ever teach them to enjoy money.
Yeah, and
then you create a little maniac, right?
Absolutely. Sounds like you're working on it.
Well, he's loosened up a little bit. My daughter, she doesn't need any help spending money. But again, you know, we don't want kids to grow up with having a bad relationship with money from the start. That you know, that's where greed and things like that set in.
Well, I mean, it allows them to create literally, in this case, a physical boundary.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they don't have the money in the jar, you don't spend it. Okay.
Yep.
If you don't have the cash, you can't go buy the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And delaying that satisfaction oftentimes teaches them, that maybe the thing that they really desired wasn't actually the thing they desired.
Right. What you find oftentimes is, I want it if Dad's paying for it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Sure, I'll take it if you're going to buy it for me. But if it's got to come out of my jar, no, I don't want it that bad.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. So, I think that creates a really good boundary for them, and spending is important. Otherwise, work just becomes a drag,
Yeah.
And
an unhealthy relationship with money.
Like
we do. We know people in retirement who still don't understand or know how to enjoy money.
Right. And I think this next one, where we're talking about giving.
Let's ask Bernadette.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bernadette, you've been quiet over there. Why do you think giving is so important?
So people can have more money to buy things that they need too.
Okay. Do you feel like you're pretty blessed in this life? You have the things that you need and you want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think there's people out there that don't have everything that they need?
Yes.
Okay. That's good. What about you, Owen? What do you think?
There's definitely people that live along the sides of streets begging for money and to get enough to get a home. And people will go out in the streets, and we've actually saw on the news that people are getting 5-gallon buckets and drumsticks and playing drums.
Mm-hmm. Just to try to make some money?
Yeah. On subway walkways.
Yeah, that's actually kind of honorable. They're trying to make money, but sometimes they just don't have enough. So yeah, helping them out with food and things like that. I think that's something that we've done. Again, I don't know that we've specifically taught them, but we've definitely led by example. They're trying to give.
And I think that, again, sort of along with the spending, I think charity helps, again, from creating a monster that can't let go of money, that ends up worshiping money, and aside from spending, it's not all about you, right? So
yeah, and we've seen those folks, again, that are on a crash course at the end of their life, quite frankly, and they are just holding on tight, and it's sad, and they could really see their money work for them. It would be in a good way. From a charity perspective, or make their life easier. So
I think to summarize this episode, using visuals and games and really actually having these conversations with your kids is important. And I think the big areas of saving, spending, and charity are the places that you want to start with kids these age. They get it. These are smart kiddos right here. So I think
we lost Max. I think he's like taking
actually,
a nap.
I just wanted to make a comment, Max. You said that drink was disgusting. However, you slugged that thing down pretty quick.
He's the only one that's got it finished. What do you think, Max, when you finish it? Is it good? No! Oh, wow.
All right. Well, on that one, we're going to call it an episode. So thanks for having a drink with us this week. It's time to close out the tab. If you have a question or a topic you want addressed on the Old Fashioned Finance podcast, be sure to email us at podcast@bluejfg.com. We'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to share the show with someone you love or just someone who needs a little money muddling themselves. You can stay up to date with the latest action by following us on Facebook. Old Fashioned Finance is brought to you by Blue Jay Financial Group, that's bluejfg.com, and produced by Podastery Studios. We've been your hosts, Caleb and Jason, but more importantly, Owen, Bernadette, and Max. Thanks for being on the show today, kids. Cheers.
Cheers.
Blue Jay Financial Group, LLC. Blue Jay is a registered investment advisor registered with the state of Ohio. Registration does not imply a certain level of skill or training. The presence of this advertisement on this podcast shall not be directly or indirectly interpreted as a solicitation of investment advisory services to persons of another jurisdiction unless otherwise permitted by statute. Follow-up or individualized responses to a consumer in a particular state by Blue Jay and the rendering of personalized investment advice for compensation shall not be made without first complying with jurisdiction requirements or pursuant an applicable state exemption. All verbal and written consent on this presentation is for information purposes only. Opinions expressed herein are solely those of Blue Jay unless otherwise specifically cited. Material presented is believed to be from reliable sources, and no representations are made by our firm as to other parties' informational accuracy or completeness. All information or ideas provided should be discussed in detail with an advisor, accountant, or legal counsel prior to implementation.